Very good morning, student. We have discussed up till now thermal conductivity, the various modes of heat transport, conduction, and the temperature distribution profile in solids and in laminar flow. Today we are going to discuss the last topic about the heat transport is interface transport in non-isothermal systems. We are going to discuss many topics in this chapter which is related to the calculation of heat transfer coefficient, because heat transfer coefficient is a very important parameter in heat transport mechanism. So in this chapter we will discuss about how to calculate the heat transfer in case of natural convection and the forced convection, how to calculate this heat transfer in case of circular tube around submerged object and in packed beds. So first of all, we will discuss about what is heat transfer coefficient, and then we will go in detail about calculation of heat transfer coefficient. So how it defined? Heat transfer coefficient is defined in many different ways. With help of the equation we can define as Q is equal to HA delta T, where this H is nothing but called as a proportionality factor between the heat flow and the temperature difference, and this proportionality factor is nothing but called as a heat transport coefficient. So first of all, consider the flow system in which a fluid is flowing through the circular pipe, or it may flow around the submerged object. Suppose that solid surface is at higher temperature than the liquid, than the fluid. Means if the fluid is flowing through the pipe, that solid surface pipe is at higher temperature and the fluid is at lower temperature. In another case, the solid sphere or object is at higher temperature and the fluid flowing around is at lower temperature. Then the rate of heat flow across this solid fluid interface is obviously depends upon area of interface, and also it depends upon the temperature difference between the fluid and solid. So this rate of heat flow across the solid fluid interface is given by Q is equal to HA into delta T, where H is called as a heat transfer coefficient, unit is watt per meter square Kelvin, Q is the rate of heat flow in watts, T is a delta T is a temperature difference in K, and area is nothing but A is area of interface in meter square. So this is how the heat transfer coefficient is defined with help of the equation. Now this heat transfer coefficient is defined in many different ways, based upon the initial temperature difference between, based upon the arithmetic mean temperature difference, based upon logarithmic mean temperature difference. So we'll discuss this concept with help of the following diagram. So now consider the flow of conduct taking place. The fluid is flowing through the circular tube and it is shown in the figure. It will be like this. So the fluid is flowing through the circular pipe. The fluid enters at the interface at temperature of TB1 and fluid leaves the bulk temperature at TB2. You can see the arrows. Inner surface is at the temperature of T01 and the inner surface temperature at the second point is T02. So we'll consider only the heated section which is at the temperature of T0, in which we are going to consider the element of the surface having a thickness of delta Z. So we are going to apply the various temperature differences and we are going to define the heat transfer coefficient. Suppose the bulk temperature is TB and this is vary from TB1 to TB2. Surface temperature is T0. It may vary from T01 to T02. The definition of heat transfer coefficient for the fluid in a heated section is given as follows by the three different definitions. The first one is Q is equal to H into delta T into A, where A is pi dl. So you can write H1 into pi dl, that will be the area HA delta T. What will be delta T? It will be T naught 1 minus TB1. So T naught 1 and TB1, if you see, it is the initial temperature difference. So this H1 is nothing but the heat transfer coefficient based upon the temperature difference at the inlet. Similarly, the rate of heat flow can be calculated by the arithmetic mean. By this equation, Q is equal to HA into pi dl, and delta T will be the temperature difference, T naught 1 minus TB1 plus T naught 2 minus TB2 upon 2. So it will be HA into pi dl into delta TA. This is called as arithmetic mean temperature difference. So this HA will be the heat transfer coefficient based upon the arithmetic mean temperature difference. The third equation defines the logarithmic heat transfer coefficient. So this is Q is equal to H ln pi dl, and it will be the difference of C, T naught 1 minus TB1 minus T naught 2 minus TB2 upon logarithmic of T naught 1 minus TB1 T naught 2 minus TB2. This is written as H ln pi dl into delta T ln. So this will be the heat transfer coefficient based upon the logarithmic mean temperature difference. So we discussed the three different heat transfer coefficient based upon initial temperature, based upon arithmetic mean temperature, and the logarithmic mean temperature. For most of the calculations in heat transport, logarithmic heat transfer coefficient is preferable. Why? Because it is less depends upon L by D ratio, and it gives you the more accurate value of temperature difference. It gives more accurate value of heat transfer coefficient. So this is how you can prefer the logarithmic mean over the remaining two. Now if the wall temperature distribution is initially not known and the fluid property changes appreciably along the pipe, if the fluid properties are changing, it is difficult to determine the heat transfer coefficient. So in this case, this equation also can be used to find out the rate of heat flow, differential rate of heat flow. dq is equal to HLOC, that is local heat transfer coefficient, pi d dz, and T naught minus TB. So this is called as a local heat transfer coefficient H local. dq is heat added to the fluid over the distance dz along the pipe, and delta T local is local temperature difference. Finally, if in case of the flow around the submerged object, means solid sphere at higher temperature are immersed into the fluid and the heat transfer is taken place, in this case the heat transfer is found out by the equation Q is equal to HM, that is a mean heat transfer coefficient, into 4 pi r square, because it is a sphere, so it is a 4 pi r square, temperature T naught minus T infinity. T naught is the temperature of the surface and T infinity is the temperature of the fluid. So these are the different definition of heat transfer coefficient which is used to find out the heat transfer coefficient in various problems. Finally, we'll discuss about the local overall heat transfer coefficient which is given by, if you want to find out the overall heat transfer coefficient, it is found out by a equation similar to this: 1 upon d naught into u naught is equal to 1 upon d naught into h naught plus ln of d1 by d naught into 2 k naught 1, plus there will be a few different terms of this logarithmic, and final term will be plus 1 upon d1 into h1, where capital U is overall heat transfer coefficient and small h is a individual heat transfer coefficient. So if you know individual heat transfer coefficient, you can also find out the overall heat transfer coefficient, maybe through the composite wall or composite cylinders. As a chemical engineer, you are supposed to know at least some range about the heat transfer coefficients for gases, liquids, and for different water, for different material. Heat transfer coefficient gases, it is in terms of free convection, and for convection thing the heat transfer coefficient value is different. See, for gases it is a 3 to 20 in case of free convection, and in case of gases in forced convection it will be 10 to 100. So this will be the value of heat transfer coefficient. For liquid, heat transfer coefficient is 100 to 600. For forced convection, see here, it is decreasing 50 to 500. For boiling water, it is 1000 to 20,000. For water, it is around 500 to 10,000. So you are supposed to know these values because it is very important. If the values are not provided, at least you are supposed to know the range. One more equation which is important to find out. So this heated section with uniform surface temperature of the T naught can be used to define that equation. So that equation can be also written in terms of the graph. Generally problems are asked based upon this big equation. This is nothing but the heat transfer in a circular tube with a constant wall temperature can be obtained by Sider-Tate equation. And this Sider-Tate equation can be empirically shown by this graph. So what is this y-axis? Y-axis is a bigger term. It is TB2 minus TB1 upon T0 minus TB ln d by 4L Cp mu by k raised to 2 by 3 and mu by mu naught raised to minus 0.40. So this will be the y-axis, okay, which is plotted against a Reynolds number. NRE is equal to dVz rho by mu. So you can see the different curves, which are the curves for different L by D ratio, that is the length of the pipe to the diameter ratio, whether it is 60, 120, 180, 240, like that. For different value of L by D ratio there will be a different curves. The dotted line shows the curve for smooth pipe, and also these are the different curves having shows a different nature for laminar flow as well as for the turbulent region. So this value, this equation, this graph can be used to find out the heat transfer coefficient if you know the Reynolds number and if you know the L by D ratio. Okay, you can directly go to the y-axis and you can find out what will be the temperature difference. From that you can find out the heat transfer coefficient. These are the different equations of Nusselt number. Nusselt number is also very important for knowing the temperature difference and the heat transport mechanism. Nusselt number is nothing but 0.026, Reynolds number is to 0.8, Prandtl number is to 0.33, mu b by mu naught raised to 0.14. So these are the equations which is also used to find out the Nusselt number. Now we will discuss few problems related to the heat transfer coefficient and the heat transport. This will end this heat transport part from the subject. Then only two chapters will be remaining from the mass transfer that we will cover in the next lectures. Now we will discuss problem 12.1, where air at 20 degrees Celsius and 1 atmosphere, it is a pump through the straight diameter is given of the pipe at the rate of 8.8 to 710 raised to minus 3 kg per second. Flow rate is given. A section of the pipe is to be heated to an inside wall temperature of 120 degrees Celsius. Inside wall temperature is given, and it raises the temperature of the air to 110 degrees Celsius. So air at initially at 20 degree and its temperature is rise to 110 degree. What heated length of the pipe is required? So length is asked and all values are provided to you. The value are given for Prandtl number is given, thermal conductivity is given, viscosity is given, Cp bar is given. So how to do calculation? So first of all, if you see, you have to find out the Reynolds number. Reynolds number is dVz rho by mu. Same equation can be written as 4 into W by pi d mu. Okay, you solve this equation, you will get this 4W by pi d mu. Put these values and find out the Reynolds number. You will get 1.09 10 raised to 4. Then you have to go to that graph that we earlier studied. Okay, and from that graph you can find out the y-axis as tb2 minus tb1 upon t0 minus tbln d by 4l mu cp by k raised to 0.66 mu by mu naught raised to minus 0.14 is equal to 0.0039. So this is a value obtained from the graph, and once you get this value, then you can solve this whole equation and you can find out the L by D. Once you find out the L by D ratio, you can put value of diameter and you can find out the length of the required pipe, and this length will be 5.919 meters. So this is how, with help of the graph, you can find out the value of pipe length. The next problem is 12.2, where again the value of local heat flux is asked. Consider a pipe of 0.0508 inside diameter through which water is flowing at the rate of 2 kg per second. The inner wall temperature at some point along the tube is 70 degrees Celsius and the bulk fluid temperature at that point is 15 degrees Celsius. What is the value of local heat flux as well as at the wall surface, assuming H local is a constant? The value of physical properties of water is given, mu Cp bar and mu Cp bar and nothing but the value of K is given. So you can find out what is TB. TB is 15 degrees Celsius, that is 288 Kelvin. TW is 70 degrees Celsius, 343 Kelvin. Diameter is known, W is known. What you can find out is, you can find out the Prandtl number. Prandtl number is Cp mu by K. You know value of Cp bar, viscosity and thermal conductivity. Prandtl number is 3.72. Then you can find out the local heat transfer coefficient by this equation is H local into D, HD by K is equal to 5 plus 0.025 Prandtl number, Reynolds number is to 0.8. So you have already found out Prandtl number. You can find out Reynolds number is 4W by pi d mu as the previous one. You can put the value, you can find out the Reynolds number. Then you can put all these values into this equation of H local D by K, and you can find out what is value of H local. It will be 7524.24 watt per meter square Kelvin. Then you can find out the heat flux. What is the heat flux? Heat flux is a heat transfer area Q by A, area of the pipe. So QR is equal to, you can write H local into A by into TW by TB by A. What the QR becomes? QR is equal to H local into TW minus TB. So putting this value of wall temperature, fluid temperature and putting the value of H local, you can find out the rate of heat flux QR, and that is equal to 4.138 10 raised to 5 watt. So this is how you can find out nothing but the value of heat flux. So see, you can use a different equation to find out the heat transfer coefficient, and you can find out the rate of heat transfer. Now we'll discuss the last problem and we'll stop it here. The last problem is related to the again the same graph. An oil at the rate of 45 kg per hour and at 37.8 degrees Celsius is flowing through the 25 mm ID copper tube 6 meter long. The inside surface of the tube is maintained at 102 degrees Celsius by the condensing steam on the outside surface. Fully developed flow may be assumed throughout the length of the tube and the physical properties of the oil may remain constant at the following values. Data given is Cp bar in kilojoules per kg Kelvin, density and viscosity is given. Thermal conductivity is also given. You have to calculate the Reynolds number, practical number and the exit temperature of the oil. So to find out the Reynolds number, you should find out the average velocity. By writing Q by A, you can find out value of velocity. You can put this value of velocity in Reynolds number like dV average rho by mu. You can find out the Reynolds number. Secondly, you can find out the Prandtl number by Cp mu by K. You know all the values and you can find out the Prandtl number. Finally, how to calculate the exit temperature of oil? Keep in mind, you cannot calculate exit temperature of the oil directly by putting any equation. You have to use again the same graph and the same equation that you studied earlier. So for that you can write TB1, that is temperature at the inlet of the fluid 37.8 degrees Celsius. TB2, that is nothing but the oil temperature at the exit. You have to find out the TB2. And what is a T0? T01 and T02. T02, it is the same. It is 102 degrees Celsius wall temperature. So again you can use the same equation. TB2 by minus TB1 upon T0 minus TBln is becomes like this. You can cancel the terms and it becomes ln of T0 minus TB1 upon T0 minus TB2. So this will be this equation that we earlier studied. D by 4L Cp mu by K raised to 0.66 mu B by mu naught raised to 0.14 is equal to 0.0027. So you can solve this and you can find out TB2, that is nothing but the 67.82 degrees Celsius. So what you find out from this problem, you find out Reynolds number, Prandtl number, and you have calculated what is the exact exit oil temperature of the fluid. So generally these problems are asked in examination. So prepared well for heat transfer coefficient. Except this, you can use Sukatme, you can use Holman, you can use DQ Kern, and also you can use the McCabe Smith. So make a use of these 3-4 books and solve as many as problems from the heat transfer, because if you study last few years question paper, only the questions which is asked out from without except the Stewart and Burt is from the heat transfer. So refer these books and solve many questions from the university papers. If you solve the paper questions problems from the last 5 years question paper university question papers, then there is no need to study more for the heat transfer. So I hope you understood everything about the heat transport mechanism, and next lecture we will start the mass transport. 2 to 3 lectures will be sufficient to complete mass transfer rate, mass transport mechanism, and it will be finish the sub syllabus of transport phenomena. Thank you.